Who doesn't love a really good chocolate chip cookie? If you're one of those people that is anti-cookie, I don't know what to say or do with you. This is probably not the channel for you, but for everybody else, hello and welcome. And I'm going to show you how I made these amazing cookies. Yummy. They're so good. Oh my gosh. So, okay, don't go anywhere. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Patty and this is my handmade lifestyle. Today I'm going to share with you some chocolate chip cookies that I've been making and just show you a couple of tips and tricks. We're not going to go through the whole recipe. I'll link over to the recipe that I used. It's really a very good one. It tastes delicious. However, when I baked the first couple of batches, they spread like crazy, and that is because the butter was too soft, and I wondered about that, but I'm gonna go ahead and show them to you so you can see what that looks like, and then I'm going to show you how I freeze my cookie dough so that it's easy to use, and we're going to go ahead and bake that up now. So let's take a look. If you're new to the channel, I would like to say a big hello and welcome. I hope that you subscribe while you're here today and make sure that you like the video and leave me a comment below with your best cookie baking tip and tell me what your favorite is. I'd love to hear. Mine is chocolate chip cookies. I know that's boring, but it's what I like. I think they're good. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for tuning back in, and I hope you enjoy the video today. Okay, so let's get right in. This is a little bit TMI. You're gonna see the whole inside of my freezer, but here we go. Up here at the top is the cookie sheet. And what I want you to see is that I scooped out all of the cookie dough yesterday and put it on the pan to freeze like this overnight. So they're too close together to bake up, so what I'm going to do is remove them from here, and we're going to just put them on a prepared pan, which I have right here. And this is that Love and Daisies stuff that I bought, and even though you're not supposed to need anything, I found the last couple of times I've used it, things have stuck. So I'm just putting down parchment paper. I want these cookies to work. So that's what we're doing. So in a lot of cookie recipes, they'll have you make the dough and then they say chill it for a time period, 2 hours to overnight. And the reason is to give the butter a chance to re-solidify, because once you've creamed it with the sugar, it's really super soft. And then you're putting that soft butter into a hot oven, and if the butter is like off on temperature, it can spread, which is what happened to me yesterday. The cookies are still amazing, they taste delicious, but we want to try to have the correct consistency to our cookies when we bake them. Okay, we're just going to try to do the best we can. So I went ahead and stopped after that second sheet and said the butter is too soft. I'm just going to let the scoop it and freeze it overnight. So that's what I did, and now we're just going to go ahead and put it out on that Love and Daisies sheet and bake them, and we'll see what we get. I suspect they're going to be a lot better. When you pre-freeze your cookie dough into the scooped little balls, you can actually take this frozen dough and put it into a Ziploc bag, and then you have frozen cookie balls that are ready to bake at any time, which is really nice, because then you can just bake 4 or 5, or I have even done it where I just bake a couple in the toaster oven. I haven't tried it in the air fryer yet. I know people do that, but I haven't tried that. But yeah, that is nice. So you don't have to bake them all at one time. You can space them out. So that's an option. Let me show you the cookies that did not work. Okay, and we're using my favorite storage containers, these Lock and Lock. This one I really like because it's got that little holder. So if you wanted to take these to a meeting or a party or work or whatever, you can carry your little cookies, which I think is nice. nice, and there's great containers. So this is what I got yesterday, and we see this all the time, these like super flat spread out cookies, and this you can see as I got to the second batch, I mean they really spread out. But I will say they taste amazing. They're delicious. There's nothing in the world wrong with that. If you like a thinner cookie, that's a way to get them. But the recipe video showed them as being super thick and soft and chewy, and that's what I want. So I'm gonna try. Now see, this is closer. See the difference? See how one is like super spread out? That's the super soft butter. The butter was not quite as soft here. As the dough sat while this batch baked, they just got softer and softer because, you know, it was next to the oven and it was, you know, it was hot. So that's what happens. It still tastes good though. I read a blog post just this morning from Sally of Sally's Baking Addiction, whom I love. She does a wonderful blog, and I bake a lot of her stuff. Well, her post that she shared today was all about getting your butter temperature right and what does room temperature butter really mean. And essentially, you want the butter to be 65 degrees. The thing about baking is it really is a science, and it's all about precision. This is why I now measure everything. I do everything in grams and milliliters. I think it's way easier, and it's so much more consistent. I don't really understand the resistance or reluctance for American bakers to make the jump to using a kitchen scale. I mean, it's so much easier. Once you start doing it, you'll wonder why you ever delayed so long. But that aside, I do have a temperature issue with the butter. So I've been looking for an excuse to get one of those like pen thermometers, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up one of those, and then I can actually test the temperature of my butter, which is nice. You can also use it to test like your candy. If you're making candy on the stove, there are certain recipes that have to be very specific temperatures to be ready. And with that I think it's called ThermoPen. I mean, it just tells you, and it tells you instantly. So that is really super nice. I just have like this really old school thermometer that clips on the side of the pot, which I've used making jam, and you know, it's not the easiest thing or the most efficient thing to use. So I'm going to get the ThermoPen and start checking the temperature of my butter before I start creaming. Okay, so I put those cookies in. They're baking for about 14 minutes, and we'll just I'll check back in with you when I pull them out, and we'll see how they look. Okay, until then. I've pulled batch number 1 out of the oven. They baked a little bit longer than you would expect, but they were frozen, so this was about 15 minutes, and it's a little bit brown around the edges here, but you know, that's okay. I think a little crispy is pretty good. They still spread a little bit more than I would have expected. This one in the middle is like the perfect one, so I think I have one perfect one on the whole tray, but you know what, that's okay. They're still going to be really, really good. The second tray is in the oven, and I set it for 14 minutes also. I'm going to leave these on the sheet for at least 10 minutes, and then what I'll do is take them off and put them on the cooling rack, and then they'll be ready. But I always let them cool first on the tray. If you try to move them too soon, they're so soft, they just fall apart. And but you know, it's always a good excuse to eat a warm cookie. It's like, oh, the cookie fell apart, now I have to eat it. I have an electric oven and stovetop, and the thing with electric is that it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter as it's on. So when I'm baking batches of cookies, I have to adjust the time temperature for each successive batch, meaning every later batch gets baked a little bit shorter time because the oven tends to just get hotter Even though I have the thermometer in there to gauge what's going on, and it says it's, you know, what it should be, I still know it's going to be a little bit hotter. I'm going to have to cut the time a little bit. You know, everybody's stove is different. Everybody's oven is different. Your temperature conditions, your altitude. I mean, there's just so many variables that affect how something as simple as a batch of cookies are going to come out. But it all plays in and it all matters. So that's why people say baking is more of a science than anything else. And those are my clean dishes in the sink. I did wash the dishes today before doing the video. So yeah, they're clean. And yeah, they're like really spreading out. I don't quite know what the deal is with that. It might be the way that I mixed the butter, because there's a trick to the way that you physically cream the butter and sugar to get the cookies to come out right. I mean, it's so darn much. You can't believe it. But at the end of the day, they still taste good. Okay, they still taste really good. They're still homemade. I made them from scratch. I used all good ingredients. So I think we have to get to the point where we say it doesn't have to look perfect to still be a good bake. There's so much pressure, you know, and like, I like to food blog a little bit. But honestly, the pressure of getting that perfect dish and the perfect photo every time is too much, and it took the fun out of cooking for me. So I decided to back off of doing a lot of recipe stuff for my website, and to just do a few things here on YouTube, because on YouTube you can be a little more conversational and real about what you're doing, and I like that. I hope you do too. Okay, I'm going to get these first tray of cookies onto the cooling rack, and then the second ones will be ready to come out, and we'll see what we have. They look good. So yeah, they're not like, we have one movie star perfect cookie, but they all are going to taste good. They all have a good bake. Even this one that's the most done, that's just like, I guess, a hot spot in my oven, still underneath. Look how caramelized it is, and it's certainly not burnt in any way. Oh my gosh, they're going to be so good. This recipe uses a lot more brown sugar than I normally use in a cookie, chocolate chip cookie recipe, and they taste delicious. All right, let's do a comparison. Here's the 3 stages of the cookies. And so like, this is the one I just made today from the frozen batter, and you can see how it's nice and thick. Whoops, it's falling apart actually. Okay. This was like the first batch from yesterday. This was the second batch from yesterday. And this was when the butter really had melted out and the cookie spread. So this is the best, and oh gosh darn it, I broke it. I guess I'm gonna have to try it now and see how it tastes. Look at the inside. Oh my goodness, isn't that beautiful? Let me see. It's delicious. Okay, because I'm always honest with you here on the channel, I have to tell you, it's basically breakfast time. Oh my god. And I'm eating these cookies that are they're literally melt in the mouth. They're good. The recipe is from Preppy Kitchen, who I love. I adore him. He's Southern, so we connect in that way. By the way, he has no idea who I am. I talk like I know him. I don't know him. I love his channel. He has gotten so funny in his latest videos. I guess he's getting really comfortable with what he's doing, and he makes the most drop dead gorgeous cakes you've ever seen in your life. The man is truly an artist. But anyway, he had these chocolate chip cookies, and I used his recipe, but he didn't re-chill the batter before baking, and he still got these really puffy fat cookies. I'm not sure how he did that. Probably just because he's magic. He's totally magical. So I did not have that kind of luck as Preppy Kitchen, but I will say once I froze overnight and then baked the next day, they did better. I still think I may have had an issue with overbeating the butter and sugar yesterday. I will have to investigate that for you, but I'm going to just kind of sign off for now and just say, you know what, they're really good cookies. I highly recommend it. And I hope that this little, I don't know what it is, cookie tutorial helps you in your cookie baking adventures, and that you always remember that they don't have to be perfect to still be delicious, and you can still share them with people you love regardless. So that's what I have for you today, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. It's sort of an interesting recipe video because I didn't actually fix anything in front of you. I feel like he did a good enough job of making the recipe, and I'll link below. But I would chill the dough overnight before you bake them, honestly. And yeah, if you make them, let me know. And that's all I got for you. So I'll see you next time. Ooh, second batch is ready.